Today, we are diving into a story about a conflict that, for some reason, is shockingly absent from a lot of our history books. And yet, it was one of the most devastating events of the entire modern era. This is the incredible story of the Taiping Rebellion. So let me just start by asking you a question. When you think of the deadliest, most brutal conflict of the 1800s, what pops into your head? Is it the Napoleonic Wars, maybe? Or the American Civil War? Well, if you thought of those, you're not alone, but you'd also be wrong. The answer, and it's not even close, is the Taiping Rebellion. This was a civil war in China that resulted in the deaths of at least 20 million people. That's a number so huge, it's honestly hard to even wrap your head around. So how on earth could something this catastrophic even happen? Well, believe it or not, it all started with one man's vision. A personal crisis that somehow managed to ignite a full-blown revolution. Okay, so let's meet our main character, Xiuquan. He was a would-be scholar from a small village, and his big dream was to become a government official. But to do that, he had to pass these ridiculously difficult imperial civil service exams. He tried, and he failed, and then he failed again and again. This string of failures just broke him. It sent him spiraling into a deep depression, a complete nervous breakdown. And during this breakdown, Hong had these incredibly vivid, feverish visions. He dreamed he was carried up to a heavenly kingdom. There, a golden-bearded old man told him that the world was overrun by demons. He also met a taller man, who he called his elder brother. Now, years later, after he happened to read a Christian pamphlet, it all suddenly clicked in his mind. The old man was God, the elder brother was Jesus Christ, and that meant he, Xiuquan, was Jesus' younger brother, sent to Earth to wipe out evil. So, with this new divine mission, Hong went out and created his very own religious movement. He called it the God-worshipping society. And it was this wild and potent mix of Protestant Christian ideas, like having only one God, blended with ancient Chinese traditions and, of course, Hong's own personal divine revelations. And let me tell you, this new ideology was beyond radical for its time. It wasn't just a new religion. It was a full frontal assault on the entire Confucian social order that had structured China for centuries. Forget the emperor's divine right to rule. They were preaching a heavenly kingdom under God. They pushed for gender equality. I mean, just think how revolutionary that was back then. And they wanted to get rid of all private property. This wasn't just a rebellion. This was a blueprint to tear down the old world and build a brand new one. Now, you have to remember, this is a China that's being torn apart by famine, government corruption, and humiliating defeats in the Opium Wars. So this radical message, it found very fertile ground. What began as this tiny religious sect for the poor and the marginalized just exploded into a powerful, revolutionary kingdom. And the growth was just lightning fast. I mean, in the late 1840s, Hong is just gathering his first few followers. By 1851, his movement is launching the Jintian uprising, officially declaring war on the ruling Qing Dynasty. And then, get this, just 2 years later, in 1853, their fanatical army captures one of China's most important historical capitals, the city of Nanjing. Capturing Nanjing was a massive deal. It was a huge statement. They immediately renamed it Tianjing, which means heavenly capital. And for the next 11 years, this city became the heart of their brand new state, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. From here, they tried to rule over a territory the size of France, with millions of people under their control. But you know, building a kingdom is one thing. Holding on to it is something else entirely. The Heavenly Kingdom was born out of war, and its utopian ideals were about to crash head-on into the brutal, messy reality of actually governing. Inside their territory, the Taiping put some of the most radical social reforms of the century into practice. They tried to give out land evenly to everyone. They officially declared men and women equal. They enforced a super strict moral code, banning things like opium, tobacco, and alcohol. Basically, the whole of society was reorganized into this massive, rigid, militarized theocracy, where the state controlled pretty much every aspect of your life. But here's the thing, all of these utopian dreams were built on a foundation of just unimaginable violence. This was a total war. Cities that dared to resist were often massacred. Both sides, the Taiping and the Qing government armies, committed absolutely horrific atrocities. For more than a decade, the heartland of China was just swallowed by a conflict that knew no rules and no limits. And for a little while, it really looked like the Heavenly Kingdom might actually pull it off. They might actually overthrow the Qing Dynasty. But in the end, this divine dream was doomed to collapse, both from the enemies outside and from the rot within. So what went wrong? Well, first, the kingdom started to eat itself alive. There was vicious infighting and bloody purges at the top that killed some of their best leaders. This weakness gave the Qing army the opening it needed. They regrouped, they modernized, often with help from Western powers, and they laid a long, brutal siege to Nanjing, literally strangling the heavenly capital by cutting off all food and supplies. After years of starvation and fighting, the city finally fell in 1864. Xiuquan himself died just before the final assault, and the fall of his capital was followed by a horrific massacre that finally ended the dream of a heavenly kingdom on earth. The rebellion was finally over, but its legacy was just beginning, and it was a legacy written in the blood of millions. The human cost of this war is a number so big it's almost impossible to really feel its weight. 20 million. And that's the most conservative estimate. That's the floor. Some historians argue the true number could be 30 million, maybe even higher. 20 million lives lost to combat, to starvation, to disease. And to put that number into some kind of perspective, look at this. The Taiping Rebellion killed more people than the American Civil War and the Napoleonic Wars combined and then multiplied several times over. It's not even in the same league. It was, without any doubt, the bloodiest civil war in all of human history and the single deadliest conflict of the entire 19th century. The war's impact was just immense. It completely devastated huge parts of China. It fatally wounded the Qing Dynasty, shattering its authority and its ability to govern effectively. Really, this set the stage for the dynasty's final collapse and created this massive power vacuum that would lead to another century of revolution, paving the way for the warlords, the nationalists, and eventually the rise of the communists. And all of that leaves us with one final, kind of mind-bending question. What if they had actually won? Just try to imagine a huge Christian-inspired theocratic superstate right in the heart of Asia in the 19th century. How might the world that we live in today be completely unrecognizably different if this heavenly kingdom had actually survived?